Hi, my name's John Muller and I'm going to be talking to you about the pruning and training course, and what I'm going to be doing is just giving you a bit of an overview of what we're going to be doing and looking at some common reasons for pruning. Now, we'll be looking at common fruiting plants such as apples, pears, plums, and so on, common flowering plants such as roses, and some climbers, including things like grapes. So, what do we mean by pruning and training initially? So, pruning means basically removal of unwanted growth, and training just means encouraging a plant to grow a certain way, whether it's a certain shape or up a certain structure like a fence. Now, the two things that I want to look at in this first talk, and that is why do we prune and when do we prune. So, why do we prune? Very good question. Whenever you're doing something, ask yourself why are we doing it. The most important reason for pruning plants is to encourage flowering and fruiting. So if you've got a rose, for example, you want to encourage the right kind of growth so that you get nice blooms. And if you are growing a fruit tree such as an apple, how can we encourage the right kind of structure and growth to get adequate fruit that's going to ripen nicely? So we're trying to encourage good fruiting and good flowering. Now, the other very common reason for pruning is to remove what we call the 3 Ds, and they are dead, diseased and damaged. Now, dead growth is easily found out if you scratch bark on your plant and your tree or shrub and it goes green, you know it's alive, and if it's brown, you know it's dead. So if it's dead, remove it. Always just remove dead wood. It's a common practice. Diseased, obviously the same thing. We may need to, once we've removed it, to apply a fungicide or something like that, but remove the diseased. And then damage. Now, damage could be due to things like wind damage, frost damage, mechanical damage through things like mowers or things like that. So always you can remove that growth. And another common reason why we prune is to improve light, to improve access, or to control the height of a tree. Now, for example, if a tree is or shrub is near in a garden, it's near a lawn, and you're having difficulty getting around it with your mower, then you might need to remove some of the lower branches. If that tree is creating some shade, you may need to thin it out to actually let more light in, or it may be that its height needs reducing, so you need to be able to remove the right kind of growth just so you can contain it. Now, sometimes in terms of controlling growth, you can is particularly noticeable with things like hedges, where you want to try and train them so that, or prune them and train them so that they have a certain shape and size. But also that can be taken to a greater extent with a subject called topiary, where you can train, say, box hedges into the shape of animals or whatever. So that's a more specialised form of pruning. So those are the 4 main reasons for why we prune. That is, encourage flowering, fruiting, remove dead, disease, damage, control growth, and also to improve access, light, or shape. Now, the other thing you want to think about is, when do we prune? Some people say, oh, don't I prune in winter, or don't I prune then? Or no, first thing is, for fruiting and flowering plants, always prune after they've finished flowering and after they fruit. For example, forsythia flowers in winter and if you go by the idea that you always prune in winter, well then you'll take all the flower buds off. So you need to know your plants, you need to know when they flower. Once they finish their flowering flush, then you can prune them. Some things like lavender, French lavender, lavender dentata, they'll seem to flower all year. So you've got to make a decision, say, look, most of them are finished flowering, I'll chop it back, maybe a third now, to encourage new growth and then get new flowers. So that's the common term. Fruiting plants obviously wait till they finish fruiting. So you prune, when do you prune flowering and fruiting plants? After they've finished flowering and fruiting. The other one is you just got to be careful with some things like grapes, kiwi fruit, silver birch, maples. If you prune them too close to, say, late winter, getting close to spring, there's a lot of sap rise and they can bleed. You get a lot of sap bleed. So you just need to be careful not to prune them too close to spring. Also, another thing, stone fruit, nectarines, peaches, plums, don't prune those in the winter because they're more prone to fungal diseases, and so do them late during the autumn period, or just once they've finished fruiting. So that's just an overview of what we're going to be doing, but always good to start with why we prune, when we prune, and in the next lesson we'll look at where we prune and how we prune and what sort of equipment we use. Okay, thank you.